Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. I am so honored and grateful that you are tuning in, but I have to ask for your help. I'm going to pull an NPR. If you'd like to help the show, you can donate to the show at emmettmuckles.com/donate, or just visit emmettmuckles.com. Follow the link in the menu to the donate page where you can make a donation of your choice. Thank you.
Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with Emmett Muckles. You know, today is a day that you were given another chance. You don't understand that. A lot of people don't really get that. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And we were given this great gift. That gift is called free will. You always have a choice, which means you can think of it like a V turned on the side. You can either go up or you can go down. But you have the free will because you are a billionaire. 30 days after your inception, which means when daddy gave mommy some information, she took it, made something. 30 days, 2 became 4, 4 became 8, 8 became 16. 30 days later, you were a billion cells and you hadn't hit the planet. You have to realize what a miracle you are, but what responsibility comes with that. Today, my guest is Adri Kyser. She is the International Holistic Wellness and Professional Development Coach. Now, check this out. She said, I am going to go into law, but then something in her core said, you know, there is a better way for me to serve humanity. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. I love that men like you are around this planet because we need more people like you. I'm around a lot of women that are like-minded, but it's so nice to hear you hear that introduction and come from a guy perspective. So I thank you. I cannot wait for this interview. It's going to be amazing.
But you know what it is for me? I know that there's a duality in all of us. And I always say this about people. People find a time period and they stay there. So it's usually somewhere between 18 and 24. Sometimes it's 15 to 18 or whatever period in their life they felt the most flow. They stick there. I always see those old guys with the haircuts from 1975. And I go, you got stuck in that flow. But, you know, I realized recently because some things that transpired that I had to understand my duality in this place, which means I have this very masculine side, but then there's this other side that is in tune with stuff. And in conjunction with the age of Aquarius, which I've looked into, you know, I understand that we're moving towards a feminine age. We see it everywhere. But the thing with us as humans is we are not here for ourselves. That's where our ego comes into play. We are here to serve the community. And we've gotten away from that. And that's why I do the Billionaire Lifestyle, is to build community, or someone who's sitting on the fringe, they may listen to this podcast and go, I identify with that. And I thought I was the only one.
Absolutely. And the thing of talking about duality is, doesn't matter if you are a male or female, all of us have the female and masculine and male aspect of ourselves. So you can be very masculine, still within yourself. You have a feminine side, which is the more nurturing, the more nurturing, caring, the aspect that restores and rejuvenates itself. Just like I'm very girly, but I have this masculine side, which is driven, let's get it done, very accomplished type of thing. So we all have that at different degrees. And that's the beauty about being here in this world today and finding the balance between the two, because prior to this, we have been in a very masculine driven society and mindset. And you just mentioned the Aquarius era, where now everything is going to begin to shift. Instead of competition, now it's more collaboration, where we now I mean, last year was an example of that, where all patterns are going to come to a halt and we're going to shift completely. And since that we took for granted, now we value even more. So I'm so excited that this shift, these changes are happening because it is time. We are here, every single one of us, for a reason. We all have a mission and purpose in life. We all have a gift to share. And this is the time now that we all need it. So there's no need to compare. There's no need to judge, because I believe that when we compare with ourselves to others, we're giving away our power. We're giving away our joy. And competition really just disempower you. So when we cooperate now, we find the tools to help each other grow and make a powerful impact in the world.
So as I ask all my guests, life, you just don't plop down into a situation. There's a journey. What brought you to now? You know, we know that you were into law, but you did this big change and went away from corporate into this practice. So what got you to that?
Since I was a little girl, you know, there were several things. My mom was all into meditation, yoga, Ayurveda, crystals, all the different things. And I hated it. I was like, that's not me. As a kid, as a teenager, I remember going to a class with my mom, a yoga class with my mom. And I was like, oh my God, all these old ladies I hate. And they were probably in their 30s. So they weren't even old, but to a 14-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
And part of my process was I was told multiple times I wasn't good enough. I was bullied and beat up by a family member. I was called names. So I always had this fire within, since I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I wanted to fight for the underdog. I wanted to make a difference. I want to be the voice for the voiceless. So that drove me to law school in Venezuela, where I'm from. And I came to the U.S. with the intention of becoming fully bilingual and then going back home to finish my law school. That being fully bilingual implied better jobs, better opportunities. But I met my husband and I ended up staying.
That happens.
One thing I want to mention is that when I came to the U.S., I encountered for the first time in my life being singled out for being an immigrant, for being a woman with an accent, for looking differently. I remember one person saying, "the stupid, ignorant immigrant." It impacted me so much, Emma, that I didn't speak for months. I became completely silenced. Yeah. I felt inadequate. I felt not good enough. I felt all these different things until one day, for whatever reason, maybe it's the Latin blood within me, I was just like, you know what? Let me show you. This cannot happen. But during this period of time, what I didn't know at the time was that I had chronic pain for over a decade. And I didn't know that the reason for my chronic pain was beyond physical. I had tried all these different treatments just to get temporary results. So I found for the first time a yoga class. I went to a yoga class to help me cope with pain. And yoga was a stepping stone for my personal development. And it was when my son was around 7 or 8 years old, I was playing with him, and something triggered the memories of my aunt beating me up, slapping my face, pulling my hair, calling me names. And in that moment, my entire back locked up. Oh. And I realized that 10 years of chronic pain, the root cause of it was emotional, because I didn't live my life thinking, poor me, I was abused. I completely erased it from my conscious memory. I didn't think or talk or anything about being abused. So that goes to show how the mind, body, and emotions are connected. Yep. And because we think we out of sight, out of mind, our bodies doesn't work. They don't work that way. So for me, it took 10 years of really digging deeper and deeper to realize this is something that is deeply embedded within your cells. And your back pain was just an alarm system telling you, pay attention to this. You see, many people think pain is bad. People think pain is a horrible thing. And while I don't want my pain back, I'm very grateful for all that it taught me, because thanks to pain, I was able to see it as a teacher. It was something that gave me the tools that I needed to heal from the inside out, but also to become aware of the things I needed to do. So I was voiceless, I was disempowered, but my goal was always to help. It wasn't through law school, but it was through health and wellness. And that back pain took me in that direction. So that's what I've been doing for the past 16 years. Energy, transformation, alchemy, mind, body, and spiritual wellness.
So we were talking before the interview about the integration of men and yoga, because often when you see the presentation of yoga or fitness, you see the most fit guy trying to tell some unfit guy how to be. And, for men, we don't see the journey. We see the result. And the same thing with yoga. If you are new and you haven't, I'd say if you're over 25 and you're not very agile and you join a yoga class, you can quickly be frustrated because you don't understand why you can't do these things in short succession. That was one of my problems. What would you say and I know you focus on women, but what would you say to someone who has tried yoga but gave up on it because they couldn't adapt or feel like they could adapt? Because it's really a journey. And it's not one of those, it's not like basketball where you pick up the ball, you learn the technique and you can shoot a basket. This is a progression. So what would you say to someone who's a little frustrated about that?
Yes, I work with a lot of women, but I have a lot of men in my classes too. And I would say whether it's a man or a woman, because I see it. I've been teaching for 16 years and all over the world. And it doesn't matter what your background is, what your skin color is, how tall you are, how your body shape or size. We all have moments in our life where we feel that way. And the beautiful thing about yoga, like you said, is a journey. So what I understand and what I tell people is every day is different. Today, you might be able to show up to class and nail every single pose. And the next day, it might be terrible or vice versa. But the beautiful thing about our practice of yoga is a reflection of what's happening in your life. So let me give you a perfect example. Balancing. How many times do you balance on one leg on your daily life? Probably zero, unless you go to a yoga class, right? So balancing is a perfect example, because when you are on a mat and you're standing on one leg or you're standing on your hands or whatever it is that you're doing to balance, the moment you start thinking, the moment you start comparing or your eyes go somewhere else, you lose your balance.
Yeah.
So the practice of yoga is teaching you how to find balance in your life. In addition to this, if you don't sleep well, if you're stressed, if you're not eating well, it will show up on your mat as well. So the practice is a mirror, it's a tool that gives you the insight to figure out what's going on in your life. So it doesn't matter that you didn't do anything today. I tell people, or that you think you didn't do well today. I tell people the hardest thing is, number one, to show up, and number two, to take a break when you need it. I had students that are muscular, they're personal trainers, they're built, they're big, they're strong, and within 5 minutes they're sweating buckets and they're dying, and they say, oh, I didn't realize how hard yoga it is, because they think it's just sitting down for meditation.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. So I will tell people, number one, let go of expectations, show up as you are. That's the beautiful part of yoga. It welcomes you and finds you and meets you wherever you are. Number two. So number one, let go of expectations, show up as you are. Number two, try it anyways. Number three, find the right class, find the right teacher. It's very important and to understand that not all yoga classes are the same. Not all yoga teachers are the same. Yoga is not one size fits all. Yoga is very individual. So even though you come together into a classroom or online, as we move into this new era, right? Know that everything is very individualized, meaning you are in charge. The teacher can be guiding you and suggesting things, but you are the one in your body. Only you know what you need to do or what you can do. And don't give up if today or a month from now you're still don't see immediate results. That's a problem. Many of us expect immediate results, instant gratification. Yoga, if you show up on a regular basis and you have the right intention, you will see progress quickly. Yoga was meant to heal. Yoga is meant to unify. The word yoga means to unite, to yoke, to bring together. And how I like to teach it is to imagine you're bringing all aspects of yourself into wholeness, your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. So I don't teach just poses. I can kick your butt if you want me to, but I'm more interested in helping you achieve long-lasting transformations and heal from the inside out, because that's what I did in my journey. That's what helped me heal from chronic pain. It helped me change the narrative of my story of you're not good enough, and really embracing who I am today. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, there are some things. I've been doing the practice for probably a month and a half now consistently. And I started by myself, and my wife saw me, so she started joining in with me because she has a autoimmune disease. But for me, I saw that I was having some struggles just literally getting off the couch. And I'm very healthy, but, we just don't move because of COVID. We sit down in front of a computer a lot during the day. I mean, there would be 7 hours where I would sit in front of the computer, and that started to manifest. And so I started doing yoga. All of a sudden, I realized my sciatica is gone. I can bend over, and I can bend a lot better and a lot more fluidly. And what was really cool is we look for big changes because society has told us everything's immediate. And what I noticed was really small changes. I mean, really small changes. And most of it was related to my toes, which means I could get a closer look at But it's great for men. And I think, and what I related to is this, a lot of things cleared up because I'm also into Chinese medicine. And I realized that my internal flow, whatever blockages I was probably having were starting to clear up because I was connecting the mind-body connection was re-synergizing.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned a couple of things that are very powerful. For me, I'm on a mission of helping people become pain-free, whether that pain manifests as back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, emotional pain. There are two things. There are two types of pain. One is acute pain. If you fall and you hurt your arm, it's going to hurt for a few days or a week or whatever, and then it heals. And then you have the chronic pain that's constant, the chronic pain that eventually begins to take a toll in your mental health, emotional health, on everything. And that chronic pain, 99.9% of the time, have a deeper root cause, whether it's mental or emotional. Most of the time it's emotional, right? So when we are, like you mentioned, COVID, we've been sitting or in front of the computer, on the couch, watching TV or whatever, our bodies are meant to move. And when we don't move, right, then we become more lethargic, aches and pains begin to come up, we don't eat well. I can tell you, I had a client and we were working together privately for about 3 months. And one day she comes to me and says, you know what, Adri, I realized I'm lactose intolerant. And I didn't know I was lactose intolerant until I started to practice yoga and recognize what it feels like to feel good. That I went and ate an ice cream and then I didn't feel good. And then I tried something else a few days later, cheese or yogurt or whatever it was, and didn't feel good. So she finally recognized lactose intolerance because she was doing it and she just felt bad the entire time and felt it was her new normal.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about yoga is that when you are consistent, then changes begin to happen at a deeper level and start small. See, the thing is, you mentioned it already. We think we have to do big changes, especially at the beginning of a year. People start to set resolutions. Oh, I'm going to lose X amount of weight in X amount of time. I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And what happens 3 weeks later, they fall off the wagon because the change was too big, right? But if you start making small changes, that's what leads to long-lasting transformation. Yeah. So if somebody tells me right now, I'm going to start practicing yoga every day, and they haven't been active physically speaking, I will say, why don't we start with maybe practicing yoga 2 or 3 times a week? That maybe it's just 30 minutes or 20 minutes a week. And then we grow from there. Why is that important? Because it will make sure that you start seeing results or benefits right away, but then also you stay consistent. And then that brings you to, you're sleeping better, you have more energy. I remember another client saying, Adri, guess what? I was able to back out of my driveway and actually turn my body. So things that we take for granted, right, are very powerful. Or clients that have been having back pain or neck pain or TMJ, and after working together and doing meditation and customized classes, they saw big changes because it's not just a physical body. Think about it. The physical body is the first thing that we see when it's like, I like to call it, it's like the alarm or the light in your car when it says you need to get gas or you need to change a battery or whatever. You know, the physical body is telling you it's our tool that lets us be present right here, right now. It's our vehicle. But when things are going off track at a deeper level, your body has to tell you, hey, guess what? You have to pay attention to this. We need to change this pattern. So yoga is a great entryway for anybody interested in getting to know themselves better, in finding their purpose and mission in life, and experiencing better relationships, setting healthy boundaries, how to cultivate a positive mindset, how to grow financially, how to grow spiritually, how to have emotional intelligence. I mean, it can be such a gateway. That's why I'm saying, find the right people, find the right class, find the right teacher, find the right community, because when you do, the sky is the limit. There's a reason why so many stars and football players and many athletes are practicing yoga, not just for the physical benefits, because yes, it helps them to improve their performance in their field, but also for the mindset and peace of mind that we have.
I want to diverge a little bit here, because so many of my guests are women, and they really focus on women. As a matter of fact, there was one guest that I had that had this really great thing, and I was like, do you have that available for men? And her answer was unequivocally no. And at that moment, this was a couple of years ago, and I start seeing things where men are excluded to some really good thing that women are putting forth in the world. But what made you say, I'm going to really focus in on women, even though you said, men are in your class as well? But what made you say, I want to focus in on women? Is it just because that's your perspective that you could really master?
That's a great question. First of all, many women are the ones that are more... This is a shift that I want to consciously make, and people listening right now, especially men. Many years ago, many men wouldn't come forward and say, I'm struggling with my mental health. I'm struggling with my emotional state. They like you said, they're the caregivers. We're going to work. We're going to do this. Yeah. Boys don't cry, right? Yeah. Men are tough. So they very seldom will seek out help. Very seldom will be like, let me address some of the stuff that is not working. Women, on the other hand, not all women, because there are many women out there as well that are very reserved and very quiet about it and stuff. But for the most part, women want to seek out help. Women seek community. Women seek sisterhood. Yeah. So, and here yoga, actually, the origins of yoga was for men. Many women were not allowed to do yoga when yoga first was in India. The gurus and master only taught men. And it was one female that became the student of what we call the father of yoga in today's world. Yeah. And she was responsible for bringing yoga into the West. Thanks to her, yoga is available to all of us. So one thing is that you see most classes are mostly women because men have this, I'm not flexible, this is just women, whatever it is. Thankfully, now we're starting to see more changes where more men are attuned or awakened to the feminine aspect of themselves. Remember when I said we all have a feminine and masculine aspect, doesn't matter what a gender is, right? Or how we identify us. Yeah. We all have both polarities or both dualities. So now more men are becoming more in tune with their emotions. They're becoming more in tune with their feminine side, with their nurturing side. There are more men staying home with their kids. There are more men wanting to become more emotional intelligent, right? So that's now leading the path for them to showing up to class, to doing yoga, to finding help, to getting coaches, all the different things. I can tell you, I have a student, he's a man, he's in, actually it's a couple, they come together. He's probably in his 60s and he was diagnosed with cancer. And for a while, it looked pretty bad. And he kept coming to my classes before his diagnosis, during his diagnosis, during his treatment. Thankfully, his mind, he says, yoga helped me tremendously. His mindset helped him tremendously. Some of my yoga meditation stuff that I did for him helped him tremendously. Today, he's cancer-free. Awesome. He's not in remission. He's cancer-free. So that goes to show the power of mind, body, and emotions. So yes, my classes and my programs are men and women. A lot of the stuff are women-based because more women are more vocal about having it. But if a guy comes to me and says, can I do this program? Absolutely, yes. Just ignore the part that said women. But if you are committed, I mean, my teachings are universal. My teachings doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of my students show up are men because they are ready. So now that we're moving to this new era, my hope and my goal and my dream is for more men to be like, I need this too. So then you begin to see some of those changes. Now it's not just for women. It's just that before women were the only ones interested. Like 5 years ago, I would have said, hey, I have this amazing online program. I have hundreds of yoga, Pilates, and meditation classes. Do you want to join? And many guys will be like, no, thank you. I want to go and pump iron. Yeah. I want to run a marathon. Now I would say that to a guy and they're like, you know what? Yes, I'm interested.
You know, one of the things that really got me interested in yoga was I heard about this study related to Asian culture. And they implied during this study that the reason that a lot of Asians live much longer, and what I mean by Asians is native Asians, is that they have more mobility. And the reason they have more mobility is because they sleep on the floor.
And they squat. They don't sit on chairs.
Yeah.
Have you gone to Asia and go to the bathroom? There are no the porcelain toilets that we have here. It's squatting.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest challenges. I have very tight hip flexors. So I'm working diligently on my squat, just opening my hips. But that was one of the things that really put it on my radar. Was that makes sense. You know, if you have to play on the floor, you have to get up off the floor. Or, you know, there are certain things that you're just not up and down vertical. So, you know, that's one of the things that got me into it. What would you say to someone that says, I'm not flexible, I can't do this? Yeah, oh, it hurts.
I don't have time.
Yeah, because that's real. Because I've had, after some yoga practices, it was worse than when I went to the gym.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. So if I had $1 for every person that told me that, oh my gosh, I'd be one of the richest women in the world, you know? So I will say to people, if you have a body and you're breathing, you can do yoga. That's the only requirement, that you have a body and that you breathe. That's it. So for people that tell me I don't have time or I'm not flexible, it's too hard, I don't have the money, I will say, and this, it doesn't matter if it's yoga related or not. If you are really committing to getting healthier, because I believe health is wealth. If you don't have health, it doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account. It doesn't matter how successful your business is. If you don't have health, eventually everything else is going to become affected. Yeah. So if you're really committed to becoming healthy or attracting your soulmate or having the business of your dream or the bank account of your dreams, you have to really invest in yourself. Everybody has the same 24 hours a day. Everybody has the same 7 days a week. Everybody has the same days of the year. And so many people want to achieve change, but they're so married to their story that they don't want to let go of a story because they feel they're going to lose their identity. So if you really want to change or achieve any goal in your life, then ask yourself, how is this really important to me? And if so, what am I willing to do to make it happen? In my studio, I have 5-minute meditation classes. I have 60-minute classes. I have 50-minute classes. I have 20-minute classes, 45-minute classes. So time is not an issue because now you can have it anytime, anywhere. Yep. So if you can say, I can take 20 minutes of my day, it doesn't matter what time of the day, to just take better care of myself, to move my body, because I know I'm investing in my health, that eventually is going to help me achieve my goals and find the soulmate or build a business, find the community, whatever it is. So when people tell me I don't have time or money, all they're saying to me, this is not a priority to me. This is not as valuable as I thought. Because I cannot tell you how many people will say, I don't have money for this. But then they go out and spend $50 or $100 on a meal or buy a bottle of wine and have 3 bottles of wine per week. So it's like this is not valuable enough. Yeah. And the problem that we have right now in our society is that people don't think about their health until their doctor says something is wrong with them, until their body begins to fall apart. And then they will spend tons of money, medication, doctors, operations, or whatever it is, trying to achieve their health, when all they could have done was a small investment ahead of time to help them become healthy, to avoid taking medications, to avoid going down surgery. I can tell you, I had another client, she was traveling and went to pull a suitcase down from the airplane.
Overhead.
This is overhead. This is 2 years ago when we could travel easily, and she tore her rotator cuff. She was doing physical therapy for about 6 months, and finally the therapist told her, "You know what? I cannot do anything for you." But in the last month, she came back to yoga. We started doing yoga regularly. She was a private client as well. And she saw in 2.5 months more progress than she saw in 6 months of physical therapy. So I can, and you can hear, it's not just me. There are many yoga teachers out there that have helped people. I just have a friend of mine, he helped somebody that was about to have surgery in her shoulder, but he gave her some exercises, yoga practices and stuff to do, and her mobility came back. So I'm not saying that yoga is a fix and cure all. I'm just saying that if you show up and you commit to your health and wellness and be regular and get out of your ego mind saying, I have to do it all and it has to be perfect, then the sky is the limit. So if you really want to invest in yourself, if your health and your well-being and your happiness and your fulfillment in life is a priority, you will move you will do anything. You will find the time, you will find the money, you will find the class, you will find the instructor to help you achieve that. I have an autoimmune disorder too, and yoga has been so powerful in helping me understand. I had mono, I had Epstein-Barr, and the thing with Epstein-Barr is that it goes dormant. It's not cured. The virus, it can go dormant. And there are times where I can tell you right away, these are the precursors before it will flare up. I know like these are some of the symptoms I will experience, and I will tell myself, okay, take a break, do all these things that you need to do, delegate, whatever it is, because if you don't listen, your Epstein-Barr is going to come back. And it has been so powerful, so powerful.
All right, we're going to do an exercise because we're getting toward the end of the show here. So you got to close your eyes for this.
Okay.
So
I'm good at this.
So picture yourself sitting in your house. Everybody's gone. You have the day to yourself. You don't have class. You have something nice to just relax with, maybe watch a television show. And you're like, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. Then all of a sudden, you hear the doorbell rings, and you get up and go to the door. And there before you is your 19-year-old you. And she goes, God, you're fabulous. She's like, do you have any advice for me to help me along this journey to get where you are a little easier?
Yes. I will tell her, believe in yourself. You teach others how to treat you. Don't let other people's expectations and definitions or how they see you be your reality. You are strong, you're smart, you're beautiful, and you're going to achieve so much in your life beyond your dreams. So just keep believing in yourself. Keep trusting in your inner guidance, your intuition. Life is so much better than you think. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Adriana, I want to thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And I want to be able to offer your audience a couple of things. I have a free app. I just launched my free app. It's called Sacred Movement Studio. It's available in Apple and Google Store. Right there, you find some mini workouts as the free class of the month. I have also a free back care bundle. So anybody that has any type of aches and pains from their back or shoulders, this is simple yoga poses that they can do at home. It's a PDF. And also they get 2 free classes that are meant to help you release stress and minimize or reduce aches and pains. And then you can be in the path forward. Like I said, I'm on a mission of helping people become pain-free. So.
And where can people find you?
My website and all social media is Adri Kyser, adrikaiser.com, Facebook, Instagram, Adri Kyser. My email is adri@adrikaiser.com. So you have my name. You can find me anywhere. And yes.
And that's ADRIKYSER. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, remember this. As above, so below. As above, so below. So if you pulled out a telescope and you looked out and you saw this nebulae in the sky, it looked like the iris in your eye. And then if you look at the galaxies, if you look at the stars, if you look at how they operate, but then you take that from the opposite perspective, if you're out there and you're looking down at yourself, first of all, you see this planet, and then you see this dot on the planet, and then you go inside yourself, and then you'll see these little galaxies inside that dot. And then if you go down even further, you see the planets that actually look like little solar systems that are inside that dot. As above, so below. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. I want you to own that. And here's one thing that I really try to impart upon people. You know, we live in a very sexual society. The human body is not necessarily sexual. There are people on this planet who live without a stitch of clothes on every day, and they don't oogle each other. It's only when we cover up who we are that we sexualize who we are. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you get out the shower, don't pull your towel up, just dry off and walk up to the mirror and appreciate yourself in the God body that you were given. That's your body. That's who you are. That's the physical representation of yourself. And here's why that's so important. You have to love thyself before you can love others. Sometimes we go out looking for love to feel loved when we should feel love and then give love. That's what we're seeing across the country. Everybody is looking for a hero, and the hero is inside yourself. Find out how you can serve your community by serving yourself. Do good first, and the feeling will come. Till next time, love you all. Peace.